before I jump into this list, I want to take a moment to say rest in peace to the Memphis artist Big Scar, signed to Gucci Mane's label. He was only 22 years old, but I thought he had potential. I liked his flow, his energy, overall success situation. So RIP Big Scar. So in 2022, there were quite a few artists who I listened to regularly, even when I wasn't listening for the purpose of doing reviews. Today I want to highlight these 10 rappers who I feel consistently killed it throughout the year, whether we are talking about their skill set, their work ethic, and just their ability to consistently drop dope verses and dope albums. But I wanted to make it clear that this list wasn't entirely centered on technical rapping ability. To be fair, though, everyone mentioned is a lyricist in their own right, but I did want to include a little bit of variety with these picks and touch upon artists who aren't all cut from the same cloth stylistically. Starting with number 10, I have ESTG. So ESTG is a Kentucky trap artist who makes very dark street content. Some people have dubbed him as this generation's Jeezy, which I don't entirely get, but his voice may bear some resemblance to the Snowman. ESTG's lyrics are very grim, dark, and heavy on the murder talk. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he sounds pretty evil sometimes, but he's still rapping his ass off, and I would consider him to be one of the most lyrical trap rappers at the moment. I like quite a few songs from his I've Never Felt None project because he was really bringing us into his violent and pain-filled world so vividly, and he has some quotables that really stood out on that album. At number 9, I have Lotto. So there were many female rappers who caught my attention in 2022. While I feel Glorilla had a strong year, I wasn't all that interested in her solo project, and she's not a lyricist in the traditional sense. So for me, this slot was basically between Lotto and Shay Noor. Now, Shay Noor is obviously a very dope lyricist who put out a good project earlier in the year, but I often found myself revisiting Lotto's album a little more, so consequently, I went with her. I know Lotto has some features and a ton of unreleased music that had dropped unexpectedly, but the project that got me into Lotto was 777. Yeah, she's an Atlanta trap artist, but she's very much so a lyricist who has bars and confident delivery. She's got the sexual content for sure, but she also raps about her skills and where she comes from. So I was looking for an artist who represented a balance between, let's say, turn up lit music and traditional lyricism, and Lotto was that person for me in 2022. At number 8 is 38 Spesh. This slot honestly could have been interchangeable with Benny the Butcher, but I decided to give it to 38 due to his presence throughout the latter part of the year. 38 gave us solid projects like 7 Shots and his Beyond Belief collaboration with Harry Fraud, in addition to killing pretty much all of his features throughout the year, appearing on projects from Shay Noor, Ransom, Benny, El Camino, Kool G Rap, and the Mussolini. In 2022, Spesh had less of a presence on the production front than he did in previous years, but he definitely dominated when it came to the rapping and giving us high-level coke talk infused with humor, braggadocio, and OG wisdom. I mean, 38 even caught the attention of LeBron, so you know he was making moves this year. At number 7, I have the legendary Black Thought. He's one of the greats who is likely to make some rap fans' top 10 lyricists of all time. In 2022, Black Thought continued to rap at a high level, really putting the capital T in technical abilities. Black Thought has some strong feature verses, but I found myself most impressed by his Cheat Codes album, which is easily his best solo work to date. Now, on this album, Cheat Codes, not only did he deliver killer quotables, but he had a little more introspection and social commentary than usual. At age 51. Black Thought is still the epitome of a raw and elite MC who shows no signs of slowing down. For number 6, I have Streetz. So in 2021, Streetz made my list as well. While he didn't release as many projects this year, he was still one of the doper lyricists of his generation, making traditional New York hip hop. There were a ton of Streetz features this year, and I'm pretty sure he bodied most all of them. And of course, his signing to Griselda Records gave him even more notoriety and prominence this year. His Griselda debut, Kiss the Ring, was filled with gritty, detailed bars on the street life, as well as thoughtful storytelling. And really, at the end of the day, Streetz just has this unique rapping voice and flow that's gonna stand out. For number 5, I have Payne. While this Philly and Brooklyn representative could make a list based on his skills alone, what really impressed me this year about Payne was his versatility and creativity. He released 4 projects this year, each one having a different theme and vibe. He gave us stellar storytelling on If Cocaine Could Talk 7, which was basically the audio sequel to the movie New Jack City. And also his project with Stu Bangers, My Life is a Movie, was jam-packed with storytelling. But he also dropped Beautiful Payne 4, where he continued to give us quality introspection, and his Blood on the Chainsaw project was an all-around bar fest. For number 4, I have Conway the Machine. Conway has such a good year that they even made a Conway the Machine doll or toy for kids that's pretty damn sinister and hilarious at the same time. But it's really a collector's item for Griselda fans. So while Conway already had check boxes for me on what makes a dope MC, he really showed his growth as an overall artist in 2022. Yes, he was all over everyone's features, switching up flows and hitting us with witty wordplay. And he also released 3 projects, one being with Big Ghost, Organized Grime 2, which was a sleeper album, and of course his Shady Records debut, God Don't Make Mistakes. And it was on this major label offering that we saw evidence of Conway's growth and ambition. Here he gave us some of his most personal and contemplative work to date. At number 3, I have Nas, the GOAT, the Queensbridge icon, who had another impressive year. Nas has essentially been on this strong run or resurgence ever since he linked with Hit Boy back in 2020. The two have been 4 for 4 in terms of consistently dropping dope music. Nas was pretty active on the feature front as well this year, but King's Disease 3 was really enough of a justification for him to be this high on the list. And it's a project that hasn't left my rotation since. As a huge fan of Nas in general, I really appreciated all the classy and boss-like moves that he made this year, especially the way he handled the 21 Savage situation by trying to bridge the gap between the old and the new, and also his call to end the violence. And of course, at age 49, Nas was demonstrating his continued love and passion for rapping, and he's just the personification of a very relevant and timeless artist. For number 2, I have Ransom. And think about it for a second. If you like lyricism, what would a 2022 list be without Duffel Bag Ran? Like a couple other MCs on this list, Ransom has been on this remarkable run since 2020, where he has consistently displayed why he has one of the best pen games of his generation. He's the artist you go to for those poetic street scriptures and those intricate bars of pain. Ransom dropped 3 projects this year, as well as getting busy on guest features. His No Rest for the Wicked album seemed like his most complete solo project in recent memory. I also really liked his collaboration with V-Dawn entitled Chaos Is My Ladder. Yeah, in 2022, Ransom was still rapping like the rent was due and showing no mercy to the competition. And now for the artist who I feel deserves the #1 slot, that is Detroit's own Bodie James. All throughout 2022, Bodie James has been the definition of consistency. The man gave us 4 good projects in a row. Well, 5 if you count Super Tecmo Bowl, but we won't since that came out in mid-December of 2021. And we can't be doing that because then we would have to add Magic to Nas's list. Bodie is someone who I feel this year could have done intricate drug raps in his sleep without sounding too sleepy. He had an insane number of features that were all solid, and in my opinion, 3-4 mic projects in the form of Killing Nothing with Real Bad Man, Fair Exchange No Robbery with Nicholas Craven, and Mr. 1008 with Future Wave. Now his project with Kunz or Coons, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, was cool, but the production didn't grab me as much as his other 3, but the rapping was still on point as expected. Yeah, Bodie just had a really superb year, so I would give him that MVP status. Now for the honorable mentions, and these were the artists who I listened to a lot, also that deserve some recognition. Honestly, one can make a strong case for any of these folks to be on the top 10. I'm gonna start with Benny the Butcher. So 10 to Talk 4 was a good album that had a decent amount of replay value for me. And Benny just had another consistent year, as he has had for years now. I'm going to include Your Old Droog, who released some short but bar heavy EPs. He's definitely one of the more slept on artists when it comes to the punchlines and wordplay for sure. JID had another great year as well, just putting out fun, lyrical, and creative bangers that were well produced. I'm going to include the late Takeoff as well, as I like what he did on that Only Built for Infinity Links project. In addition to his features throughout the year, he will definitely be missed in the rap world. I'm going to add Pusha T as well, mainly because his Almost Dry album had a lot of songs that I go back to, and his features were pretty cold-blooded throughout the year. Next, I throw in Billy Woods, who put out a strong project in the form of Ethiopies. It's not every day that I'm in a mood to listen to Billy Woods, to keep it a buck, but you can't deny his clever and unique writing ability. I'm gonna add Kendrick Lamar. Even though I didn't love Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers musically all that much, I gotta give him his props for the dense lyrical content and the concepts on that album. Joey Badass as well, he did his thing on features throughout the year for sure, and his 2000 album was pretty good overall. Might have been a little too laid back as a whole, but Joey had a decent year, all things considered. I'd also throw in King Crooked, who consistently raps at this elite level on every project that he releases, and 2022 was no different, as I like what he brought to the table with that Welcome to Harbor City album. And lastly, I'll throw in Larry June, who I felt had a pretty decent presence as far as releasing solid projects. And when you want that vibe heavy West Coast player music, he's your go-to guy for this current generation. So yeah, those are my top 10 rappers of the year with some honorable mentions. Please let me know in the comment section who your top 10 will be. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out. As always, it's peace and blessings. Happy holidays. Top 10 rappers 2022. 1.